It is the voice of Indiana County. It's WCCS 101.1 FM, AM 1160, and WCCSradio.com, and our conversation with Frank Kinter. Brought to you by Marcus & Mack, voted best personal injury law firm in the Best of Indiana County contest. Marcus & Mack, a law firm representing injured people. It is downtown Indiana, but it is Upstreet at ACE Hardware. Good morning.
Good morning, Todd.
It's good to have you with us here this morning. To me, it's like a candy store.
Yeah, thank you.
The new ACE Hardware, technically and officially, it is the Uptown ACE Hardware, correct?
It is the Upstreet ACE Hardware.
Upstreet ACE Hardware. Okay, that one I'll have to work on, because I'll just have trouble just saying, I'm going to ACE.
Going to ACE. You can say, I'm just going to ACE.
I'm going to ACE. The hardware store opened up, 3-4 weeks ago?
June 27th, so 4 weeks ago yesterday.
Yeah. And anytime I'm in it, and that's been several times, I've already spent too much money there.
Thank you very much.
Anytime I'm in it, it just seems like there are people everywhere. People love that place.
Yeah, thank you. We hope so.
Well, you have to be congratulated for it, because it's a tremendous idea to reopen a hardware store in downtown Indiana. This town used to have lots of hardware stores. That was the place to be, wasn't it?
There were at one time within a 4-block area 4 hardware stores in Indiana.
Yeah.
And of course, the last to close was Barclays, which was 20 plus years ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, boy, that's hard to believe, too.
It is hard to believe.
Yeah. But downtown Indiana used to have those kinds of stores, used to have department stores in downtown Indiana. In fact, one on the location where your ACE Hardware is now.
That's correct. It's the location of the former Sears building, prior to Sears moving to the Indiana Mall when it opened.
Yeah. So the idea to open up a hardware store in downtown Indiana, that's not something you arrive at lightly. That takes an awful lot of thought and planning, doesn't it?
It did.
Yeah.
It did.
Yeah. Tell me about making that decision and who all's involved.
Well, the decision began, or the quest began when we knew that Hasty and I are blessed to have all 3 of our adult children and their wonderful spouses, and thus our 4 grandchildren here in Indiana. Mm-hmm. And the idea to go down this road started when we knew that our son-in-law, our daughter Katie's husband, so Katie is our middle child, his long-term employment prospects here in town were in jeopardy. And being selfish parents and selfish grandparents, we started to kick around possible ideas, something that we could create that could keep them here in town. And that was our primary objective. Secondary objective was to, if we could create something for them, also create something that we thought would be good for the community.
Yeah.
And we kept coming back to this idea that we talked a little bit earlier, that there used to be 4 hardware stores in downtown Indiana, and the last to close was Barclays. And over the years, I've had, I know, more than 100 conversations with various people who would say, boy, I miss Barclays Hardware. I wish we had a downtown hardware store. I used to be at Barclays Hardware twice every Saturday. Mm-hmm. I wish there was a hardware store. So I one day just picked up the phone and I called ACE corporate headquarters. They're located outside of Chicago, Illinois. Received a call back the following day, and within 2 weeks we had our first engagement, our first meeting with some folks from ACE Hardware, and that first meeting was now approximately 4 years ago.
Yeah, and now finally the store comes into being, and it takes a tremendous investment of time and of money and of intellect, because owning a hardware store, operating a hardware store, it requires an awful lot of knowledge and some really good people that you have to support you within the business itself. And I'm sure that ACE itself has certain standards to live up to, and so you have to follow all of these things, and that's why you're able to open a store that is as impressive as that.
Yeah, thanks. ACE has been a tremendous partner over the past 4 years. They have been extremely supportive of us. They continue to be supportive of us. And obviously, they don't want their name associated with a failing store. So it's just part of their model to provide a lot of support to actual store owners.
Yeah, yeah. Training of employees, training of management folks, people who are going to train. They have to be trained too. I'm assuming ACE has an ACE way, the way that we do things at ACE Hardware, and this is the standard that we require of all of our stores and of all of our employees. Does that happen?
They do provide a lot of training. They have already provided training for us. In fact, our son-in-law Matt was going to join me this morning, but we in fact have some ACE people in the store this morning, and John Domagowski, who is from Chicago, is part of their training staff, working with Matt and with Katie and other employees in the store. So yes, they're a tremendous resource. ACE has a computerized learning university, for lack of a better term, that our employees can access in regards to all kinds of topics that are appropriate for or in the store.
Used to be you had an old guy sitting in the back.
That's right.
Go ask the old guy sitting in the back. He knows where everything is and he knows what everything does.
That's right.
It's a little bit more high tech than that now. The old guy sitting in the back is actually a very nicely designed online course. I like that.
The old guy sitting in the back is me.
That's you. But you're supposed to have grimy hands. Your hands aren't all grimed up yet.
No, when we started this project, my intention was never to be involved on a day-to-day basis. And I know that you know Hasty and our daughter Mackenzie, who they operate our other retail operation in Indiana, Lucy Ray's, and she did not have any desire to be involved on a day-to-day basis. So the goal was to create the opportunity for Matt and Katie, and Matt is our general manager, and Katie is there helping as well.
When you open a hardware store, you are getting into a lot of areas probably that you're not familiar with, or I'm not familiar with, how to do this or that in the hardware world. The amount of stock that you must carry, the various product lines that you have, and you're on 2 floors of that building, and it just seems like there's not a thing that you can think of that you don't have there. For me, it's fun as a customer just to go in and walk around and spend a good bit of time there. But it's a practical thing, isn't it? As a hardware store, that's what's not required, but it's certainly what folks expect.
It is, and it's amazing what people are looking for, and usually every person who comes in the store is looking for something different than the person who walked in the store prior to them. And it was pretty incredible to me. I didn't know until we started this what a SKU is, an SKU.
Okay.
They're the codes, the barcodes that you see when you walk into basically any retail operation that identify the product. And I think we have 65,000 SKUs in our store, which means we have a lot of different things.
Yeah, you do. And of course, that helps you to keep track of inventory.
It does.
And I'm sure that folks can come in, and if you don't have it there, you have the ability to at least find out who does, and if you can get your hands on it too.
We do. We have access to the ACE warehousing network, and we receive a delivery truck every Thursday. So if there is something that a customer needs that we don't have in the store, we can easily determine if it's available to us. And if they're patient to wait a few days, we can order it, and it will arrive on the next truck.
Yeah. Now, in the old days, of course, the hardware store guy was able to do practically anything. He could fix your lawnmower. He could fix your screen on your door and put the wire mesh back in there.
Right.
And when the baseball went through that screen door window, why, that would be taken care of at the hardware store as well. Those services still available?
They are available. So we have a power equipment repair person in the store. We do screen repair. We have the ability to cut glass and cut plexiglass. So a lot of those services that may not be available at the larger box stores, something that we will do. We do have a key cutting machine. We will hopefully soon have the ability to do keys that have the electronic starts, the chip, the chip keys. So yeah, we do have, and we'll provide services that might not be available elsewhere.
Yeah, well, that chip technology thing is something that's pretty exciting as well. We're talking with Frank Kinter, and it's the Upstreet ACE Hardware in downtown Indiana. One of the other things that I note, because as I said, I've been in there quite some time, is, two things. First, you have parking off the street in the back. There's a nice lot there for folks to pull into, so you don't have to worry about that concern. And the second thing is when you use those doors back by that back parking lot parking, you walk in and you're almost right there in the paint department. Paint is such an important part of what a hardware store does, the mixing of the paints and the paint products that are available. And that takes a little bit of expertise, too, and you've got that.
It does. We fortunately have an employee who years ago worked for Sherwin-Williams, so is familiar with the process. And for him, a matter of just refreshing his training. And in the meantime, we've also been training some other employees to work paint mixing machine to learn the different paints, their uses, et cetera.
Yeah.
And you mentioned the parking, Todd. We were extremely fortunate to be able to last fall acquire the PNC Bank building. We have since sold it, but we were able to create a parking lot directly behind the PNC building and then create the opening, as you mentioned, into the side of the building that we are using. And ultimately, the whole idea for this location would not have worked had we not been able to create that off-street parking. So we were fortunate to be able to make that happen.
A lot of things had to come together. I do want to note as well that anytime I've been in the new ACE Hardware, the folks are so friendly, and they're not only willing to help, but they're really eager to help you. And that speaks well of the store, and I just know it's going to be a great success. Frank, we could talk about hardware for hours. Like I said, I could move in there easily.
Yeah. You're welcome. We'll find a place.
Okay, there you go. I could probably build me a bed. But I do thank you for coming down to visit with us today. Invite everybody to check out ACE Hardware in downtown Indiana.
Yeah, thanks so much, Todd, for the opportunity.
It's our pleasure.
I appreciate it.
It is the voice of Indiana County. It's WCCS 101.1 FM, AM 1160, and WCCSradio.com. And coming up at the bottom of the hour, Jake is in the newsroom. He's on the way. Right now, the CBS Sports Minute.